You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is TFG1 Mike.
Hello.
And our special guest, the SportsGalPal from BlogTalkRadio. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am very good. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, thank you for joining us. So, just to kind of get a little bit into this before we get into some of the more fun topics that we were discussing off air, tell the audience of Altered Geek a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am a podcaster with a podcast called The SportsGalPal. Originally, it was designed to help explain sports to non-sports fans, but it's kind of become really a celebration of like sports fandom because sports fans are super geeky about sports. You know, everything from sabermetrics to, you know, talking about, you know, which quarterback is truly the GOAT, the greatest of all time, to it's very similar to, you know, debating DC versus Marvel. It's all the same, really.
That's actually a good analogy.
I have a lot of those.
Because when people are discussing sports teams, it gets heated just like that in a lot of conversation.
Yeah, it really does. And, you know, again, I will defend particularly my college team to the death. Like, yeah, I will.
Which college team
I graduated from the University of Virginia, so go Hoos.
Okay.
I get a funny one there. I'm going to community college right now, but it's for media production, which is rather ironic because I've been doing this longer than I've been taking the classes. So it's actually it's actually been beneficial to taking this journey into this degree, having been a podcaster for years and doing fan dubbing, voiceover stuff. So I've had quite a bit of experience with a lot of the stuff that we're learning in the classes. So I'm actually able to edit better than half the people, which has been really good.
I hope so.
But going back to the sports team, our mascot is the Bears.
Nice. Like, you call it like that? The Bears? Like,
no, I just was doing it because it's funny. But
it is funny.
So yeah.
I bet you, honestly, if you guys have a football team, your quarterback is still better than Jay Cutler. So there you go. The Bears' actual quarterback.
And that's the extent of my sports references because I know nothing. I could probably, like, if we were talking hockey like years ago, like the 90s, I could tell you some of the stuff, but like I know nothing about sports.
Wow. Well, that's okay. I mean, sports isn't for everybody, you know, but wow. I don't meet too many guys that aren't sports fans. I'll be really honest.
I grew up with it. It's in my blood. And I've said this on this show and on other podcasts on GCRN before. Everybody else in the country can have their sports teams. That's fine, whatever else. When you come to Boston, when you come to Massachusetts, it's a whole nother culture. Once you're born into it, you bleed it, whether they win or lose.
Do the Boston accent.
Give me a few minutes here.
Do you like? Is it
I can't.
Like Wicked Pissa, Wicked Awesome. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. God. This is not like it's not like you, Steve. I can't just whip the Megatron out in an instant. Hang on. Okay. I can. No. Anyway, so with growing up in Boston, you know, Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, all four major sports, obviously. Back in the day, the Celtics were the best, if not one of the best on the East Coast, at least in the 80s. At least in the mid to late 80s, for the most part. There was the rivalry with the Lakers and everything else. And, if only that idiot Buckner didn't let that ball go through his legs. Jackass. So yeah, I grew up in Massachusetts. I can still park the car because we don't use A's, we use H's. Let's see, but yeah, I mean, I've been a diehard Red Sox fan, Patriots fan, and the football stuff kind of came to me a little late. It was more the baseball, basketball, and hockey when I was a kid, and thankfully in 2004 we broke the 86-year-long curse, and Babe Ruth can croak in hell for all I care. Yes, death to the Empire, people. Death to the Empire.
Wow.
That's so you need him.
Wow.
No, not that
I know,
Empire.
The
The New York Yankees Empire. Oh, God.
Okay, see, this is my problem with Boston and New England. This is it right here, because you guys still to this day do this whole whiny thing of, oh, woe is us, the Empire, the Empire. Okay, in this century, you guys are literally the only team with all 4 major sports that have won championships in all 4 major sports. You no longer get to whine about anybody anymore. But that's agree. All you did in your rant was whine about the
Yankees. No, well, you didn't let me get it.
Okay, that's all you did. No, but that's...
No. Yes, you're right. You're right. But you didn't let me finish the speech, see?
And then this is what they do.
No. This is... Then we broke the curse, and then the winning started. And while the winning kind of has faded in and out over the last few years, but I mean, hey, what pisses me off is articles on Facebook and stuff where it's like, hey... It's the 1-year anniversary of Deflategate. Nobody gives a flying fluke about Deflategate anymore. Get over it. It was, oh, God.
See, here's the thing. The only people that bring up Deflategate are Boston fans at this point. You're the only ones.
Hey, I was fine with it until the New England Sports Network posted that article. So
well, again, the New England Sports Network is posting that article. So there you go. So again, New England fans have a typical, at least in my experience, and I seem to collect New England fans. I'm not sure why, but it's just the way it works, and I'm accepting it because
we're the best. That's why.
No,
I collect mics that podcast.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah. So there you go. So I collect New England sports fans. That's what I do. I know a lot of people collect cool action figures and different paraphernalia. I collect New England fans. That's what I have. So now I have another one. Hooray.
There you go.
Well, I'm happy that you're happy about your sports fandom. I really hope that the Broncos beat the Patriots for several reasons.
That's not going to happen.
You know what, though? That defense is really, really good. And, that's all I'm going to say.
But the quarterback sucks. That's the problem right there.
That backup's pretty good. So I like their backup better than your backup. So I'll say it like that.
Yeah, there is that, but still, everybody's got their...
What in the world is going on?
Everybody has
hijacked.
Well, he's used to that. That usually happens. It usually happens when from time to time.
You need to rein this in, Megatron. You
all hail and for intelligent conversation.
Yes.
Exactly.
It usually happens when our It usually happens when our America Junior partner joins us. So
nice.
There is that. So no, but let's face it, everybody's placing their bets on the Manning dude. No one's placing their bets on the backup quarterback from Denver. And Manning can't do crap anymore.
It won't matter. You won't beat either Arizona or the Carolina, so I don't care. Both of those teams are so good this year. They're so good, particularly Arizona. They are well-balanced. They are playing well. They have experience. I like them a lot. Cam Newton just can't help but seem to figure out ways to win. He looks fantastic. Greg Norman is a beast. Greg Olsen is fantastic. That defense is just ridiculous. So either way, good luck.
Yeah. There you go.
So, and there you go. And this is what I get to do on my podcast. I get to make sad fans cry. It's fun.
Oh, believe me, I am not crying yet. So
we make Mike cry on a sometimes monthly basis
right.
because especially if you mention specific actors or films.
Oh, really? Which
ones? Or the BS that is BVS.
Batman vs Superman. But
you don't like Batman vs Superman?
Here's
the deal. I have a 9-year-old comic book nerd kid. I don't know where this child came from. His gateway drug was Toy Story and Buzz Lightyear, and it went downhill from there.
If you don't know where he came from, there's a problem.
I know where he came from, like literally, from me. Yes, I know that part, but like his just the comic book thing, because my husband we watch, superhero movies and things like that. But he's not a comic book collector, but my kid, man, because of him, I now know where the local comic books are, and he has a pull drawer. And I'm like, why? And apparently he needs these issues. And so I walk in there and they all stop with their magic cards, all the people in the comic book store, and they're like, oh, it's a girl and it's a mom.
Yeah,
oh my God.
There was a girl before.
It's like Big Bang Theory.
It feels like that. I'm Penny. Yes, only with my 9-year-old. But yeah, no, we're encouraging it. Like he has a room inside of his closet that has a secret door. And so it's his a secret superhero hideout. So he has all of his Nerf guns hanging on the wall, and he has a lab. And then he has a fort in the backyard. That's the island. He wants to be Arrow. That's his dream. So like he went to summer camp, like sleepaway camp this past summer. And he got to pick electives. So he picked things like swimming and like outdoor survival skills, archery. Oh, yes. Archery was a big one. Archery was huge. And let's see, what else did he pick? Like crime lab and something else. And I'm like, why are you picking all these things? He goes, this is to prepare me when I'm on the island. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, well, you get one more. And he goes, well, I want to do ultimate frisbee. I'm like, what does that have to do with Green Arrow? He goes, nothing. It just sounds like fun. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So yeah, so that's my kid. So he's at that precipice too, where I think he's deciding if it's going to be DC or Marvel, which path he chooses. And he has influencers either way. I don't personally care. But I'm like, whatever, kid. But yeah, so I know far more about your culture, guys, than you probably realize.
No, it's not that I've seen the trailers and it's made me want to see the movie, but what has made me so anti-Batman v Superman is it seems the hype for it has been going on for more than the 3 years that it has been going on.
I will say with Batman vs Superman, when the rumors of the film first started dropping, that's when this podcast started.
Oh.
The actual night that we were starting this podcast, the very first night, is when they dropped the Batman v Superman information. And
from Comic-Con, yeah.
And it was literally a half an hour before the show, because me and the previous co-host were both going, what are we going to talk about? And then on Twitter, one of our listeners was like, hey, you should talk about this. And I was like, where did this come from? And so we started discussing it. And we've actually, we went from everything from deciding who we thought should play Batman before Affleck was decided, to deciding what we thought the Batsuit would look like, which, by the way, we were right.
Nice.
And so, I mean, it's been one kind of fun journey watching everything transpire through this podcast, but I'm more particular this year with Deadpool, which is not kid-friendly at all.
No. I'm very disappointed 9-year-old that mommy is not letting him watch it.
And you're a good.
Please tell me you did not sign the PG-13 position.
No, I did not. No, I did not. He'll be old enough someday. I mean, we'll watch the movie, my husband and I, and we'll make the determination if I think that it's okay. I mean, he's heard, God Almighty, my mouth can be awful, and he's been to sports games with me where I drop. I just seriously, I make grown men blush with the stuff that comes out of my mouth. I one time told another players team to get their skanky cheerleaders off the floor, and I said other words to do that. So yes. So I think it's a judgment call. And here's the thing: as a mom, people are like, "Oh, that's a terrible judgment call." I'm like, "Why? I know my kid. So if I think my kid can handle it, I think my kid can handle it. I'm not sure he can handle Deadpool." From what I've heard, I didn't even know this character existed until like the movie previews came out.
No, I knew about the character, and I knew the level of insanity that comes from him, and I knew a little bit of his backstory. But then when they dropped that teaser clip at Comic-Con 2 years ago with the animated piece that was like a minute or two long, and it was Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool with a CG animated clip that, of course, they incorporated a lot of that into the trailer. I was very intrigued, and then I started watching various videos with him on YouTube. And I bought the video game and learned quite a bit about the character, to the point that now he's one of my favorite Marvel characters. And I could care less about like the X-Men at this point, or I say that because the films have just, I think that they've just kind of run their course. I'm just getting tired of seeing them. Fantastic Four or Fan-Four-Stick is ridiculous of a concept, and then to the point none of the actors are coming back, and it bombed because they didn't know what to do with it. And then you get, Marvel, which is actually doing their end. I think that they've kind of run into that trope that they've gotten stuck in the same boat for so long that there's nothing new. So DC is the newest game in town, unless you count Deadpool. And I think Deadpool is going to have that grit that DC has, but it's going to have a little bit of the levity that Marvel has. So it's going to be a nice cross between the two.
See, I think you're missing out on a huge franchise builder, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy. That was one of the best movies ever.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying that was bad by any means. I really enjoyed that film. It's one of the last Marvel films I've enjoyed in a while, since Captain America 2. And I think I'll enjoy Civil War 2, but I don't... that to me is like number 3 on my list of what I want to see. Number 2 is Batman v Superman, and number 1's Deadpool. Suicide Squad is probably my number 4, and then the X-Men Apocalypse is like number 5 if I was going through the comic book films.
See, I'm upset about Harley Quinn because she's one of my favorite characters. Like, I've actually, I was her one year for Halloween. The Tiny Humans were Batman and Robin. I have a daughter, so we made her a Robin tutu, and it was adorable. And my husband was Joker, and I was Harley Quinn, and it was fantastic. Yeah, I'm not a nerd at all, and I'm just mad. I don't like the way she looks. I don't like the way she sounds because I've seen the trailer. Like, the trailer was brilliant, and I love the new Joker, but I'm just kind of like, Harley Quinn. I'm like, ugh.
I think we're on the other side of the fence. We would prefer the Harley Quinn over the Joker. Yeah. Joker.
No, I like Jared Leto. I think he's fantastic.
I am sorry. The lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars is too.
I have nothing
against
of him
as Jordan Caliendo from My So-Called Life, like when I was a teenager. So that's where my reference is for him.
I have no issue with the actor himself. No issue whatsoever, because like even Heath Ledger or anybody that's played the Joker has not been the ideal choice. Same thing with Batman's. I mean, nobody thought that any of these people could play him. So I give him that. I just don't like how they chromed up his teeth and they gave him the tattoos and they just made him kind of look really odd.
I think they had to, though. I mean, after Ledger's performance in the Batman movie he did, I mean, they had to do something completely different with Joker or it would never work.
Yeah, they're almost going the Dark Knight Returns kind of look with his style, other than the fact that he looks like a crack fiend.
Well, Joker probably is a crack fiend, let's be honest.
He probably is, but you still can't talk about the Joker without having the ultimate one, which was animated.
Oh, yeah, with Mark Hamill as the voice? Yes. See, oh my gosh, yes, I'm totally bringing my geek out now that I know that. Yes, I know Luke Skywalker is also Joker. Have you guys seen the YouTube video where he's like being interviewed and he's like Luke Skywalker and he is Joker at the same time? Mm-hmm. It's most enjoyable.
That was awesome.
It was at the Star Wars Celebration.
Okay, I didn't know that much.
Yeah, I watched the video.
Did you watch the video? Well, I'm excited for you. Yeah. So no, but I mean, I think a lot of people like me who are casual, like geek enthusiasts, like these kind of movies, or were super amped up for Star Wars, or again, Star Trek and all those other things. Because I grew up in a household where, like, literally Star Trek: The Next Generation was on every Saturday night. Like, that was my parents' thing. That was their date night at home. They would eat Caesar salad out of the same bowl. Not kidding. I'm like, we have other bowls. This is romantic. I'm like, gross. And they would watch Next Generation, and that was a regular routine. Yes.
We watched Star Trek: The Next Generation at home when I lived at home, and it was like a ritual every day, or every time it was on. We even watched the reruns during the week. So I'm pretty well versed in that. I have a podcast on that too, but on Star Trek. But to me, like, there's no other Joker besides Mark Hamill, and that's because I grew up with that. But at the same time,
I love Nicholson.
Well, I did a monologue in my acting class as Mark Hamill Joker. Freaked everybody out, which was great, but
Wait, so you could do Mark Hamill's Joker voice?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
There's been times that I've done it in a promo for a podcast that we had called Legends of the Dark Knight.
Oh my god.
Do the what's that one line?
Oh yes, but think of the fun.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Brave new world.
I totally want you to
Such potzes.
I totally want you to redo my Sports Galpal theme in Joker voice.
Send it over. I'll do it right away.
Really? Oh my gosh. You're on tape, so you have to do it now. Woohoo!
I actually did for a Ninja Turtles podcast, I did Krang.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what Krang is.
Yeah. No. Before you start,
let Mike wind up this story. But
before he starts, okay. If anyone's ever watched the 1987 TMNT cartoon, the one that everyone says is so campy compared to everything else and whatever else, it's not as campy as people think. Pat Fraley was the voice of Krang, and there was one night, I don't even remember what show
we were doing
recording.
Toycast.
Oh, that's right. We were doing Toycast episode 87 on the TMNT toys from the old show. Yeah. So I've got Steve, myself, and another buddy of mine, Sween Halleck. Sween is one of the most diehard Turtles toys fans that I know. And we're all sitting there talking about the toys and everything else. And next thing I know, I'm like, when did Pat Fraley show up? Because Steve does this perfect impression of the voice from the animated series, from the Turtles animated series. So take it away, Krang.
Saki, this is Krang. Why the devil is my new body?
Yeah.
I watch an awful lot of cartoons, and if it's a character I really enjoy, I memorize the voice, and then I can duplicate it. I get their mannerisms, too, which is even weirder.
Interesting. Interesting.
I've been caught at work walking around having a multiple character conversation with myself, which is really awkward when you get caught. They're arguing. Like, I'm doing the different voices and seeing how fast I can switch between them. And then I walk past cars and people are looking at me like I'm like a madman.
Well, you kind of are. That's hilarious. I can't do that. Like, no. I mean, once in a while my southern accent comes out. That's about it.
Mike likes to pull out his he's got two voices that he does. He does his Boston accent and then he does his Inspector Gadget.
No, it's not.
No, it's not Inspector Gadget. What is it?
It is, but it isn't. It's Maxwell Smart from Get Smart.
Ah, yes.
Oh, the phone guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Missed it by that much.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty much the only line I can do. There was one time where, this isn't anything Steve knows about, but there was one time I was on a phone conversation with somebody.
Who are you on the phone with?
I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and we were talking about something, and all of a sudden, my voice just changed for the next 20 minutes of the conversation, and it was like, it sounded like nothing I've ever sounded like in my life, and I don't think I could ever do that ever again.
Wait, so it was just a friend, or was it...
Yeah. No, it was just a random friend. We were talking about various cartoons and stuff that we enjoyed watching. So, yeah, it was just a little strange at the time.
Interesting.
But yeah, I am so not the voice actor like Steve is. Steve wants to eventually get into that world. But yeah. Why don't you pull out your dinosaur, Steve?
Oh,
no,
yes.
Not Barney.
Don't be dirty like that, Michael. This is not the Beast Unleashed podcast, after all.
Yeah. No.
I don't know. When a guy asks me to pull out my dinosaur, it means something different.
Yeah, really.
It's from Beast Wars. There's a Megatron in that compared to the original.
Which sounds like this.
Not really.
Is that the one I say all hail to?
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is the Purple Dragon, and Red Dragon, but Purple Dinosaur, and Mike made a joke about it in one of our podcasts reviewing that show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I took it a step further and without missing a beat, and then it's been the bane of my existence since I did it.
Oh, no, why?
Because Mike hangs it over my head every now and again.
That's right.
Yeah, but he's a Boston fan, so, he's got his own problem.
Oh, that has nothing to do with
So that's
this.
why he has a problem with Ryan Reynolds.
Are you kidding me? No, I have a problem with Ryan Reynolds because he plays the same damn role in every damn movie. Ever since he did that Van Wilder movie, he can't get out of that comedy style.
But he looks so pretty, so I don't care.
Well, you're a girl. You'd think that.
No, there I think that too. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, this thing that Steve says that I hang over his head, it's we'll have to send you the don't even go there. We will send you the clip because it's not something that should be aired on this show.
Wow, it's that bad?
It's not that bad.
It's
I feel bad for your audience.
I'm going to just do it anyway.
Just do
They've
it.
heard worse come out of this podcast.
Come on, just do it. Yeah.
So I had Barney going, I love you. Shut up, bitch, I'm not done. Yeah, because there was an episode of Beast Wars where one of the characters is a tiger, and he was with this female tiger, except he's actually a robot. So we were like, and one of Michael Wilson was like, "Oh, there's some bestiality going on," and then somehow Barney got brought up, and so yeah, Megatron, purple dinosaur. It was bad.
Oh, you violated Barney, the purple dinosaur.
Oh,
Megatron.
yes.
Oh, all right. Wow. Did Barney like it? Was he asking for it?
I don't even.
Was excellent.
Okay, can we switch to something else, please? Holy
I
crap.
did not bring this up. You brought this
I
up.
know.
This is your fault.
I know.
So
what drew you to podcasting exactly?
Oh, this is a funny story. So I got sent to a conference in Las Vegas last April by my real life job, and they wanted to. I get to go to a conference every year, so I picked this one in Las Vegas because it was in Las Vegas. And I wanted to go to Las Vegas, and my husband got to go with me, so he got a free trip to Las Vegas practically.
Fun.
And so while I was there, they were like, "Well, here, take the podcasting track because we think we want to add podcasting to like our marketing mix." I'm like, "Fine, whatever." So I start hanging out with all the podcasters, and there was this podcaster named Mark Asquith, and he and I have become very good friends. He's in England, and he does a business podcast. And I was telling him about my college thesis where I talked about sports and why people who like college sports are crazier than most people and are willing to do like horrible things for their college teams. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. And so while I was going through that, he asked why my Twitter handle was SportsGalPal. And I said, I used to have this blog called SportsGalPal where I talk about sports. He goes, that would be a good podcast. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So throughout the conference, I kept asking people, like, do you think I could do a sports podcast? And they're like, yeah, you should totally do it. This is all men. I'm like the only girl around. Well, the last day of the conference, I'm in this big kind of lobby area, and I had started listening to podcasts. I had never listened to podcasts before this. Like, I just didn't. So I found another podcast with women who were doing sports. And I was mad because they taped this episode in March, and instead of talking about like March Madness or college basketball or the fact that Virginia was seated wrong, Villanova should have been seated below us. So it's a whole thing. And they were still talking about Marshawn Lynch not getting the ball in that last kind of play for the Super Bowl. And I was really mad. So I was doing a rant about that in the middle of this lobby to this poor couple that they were like, oh my God, what happened? Well, this guy suddenly shows up next to me and he goes, well, hey there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. Because when a man shows up to you next in Las Vegas as a woman, you got to kind of go, okay, what you really want? So, so the guy comes up and he goes, I just want to introduce myself. I'm known as the Podvader. I'm like, the what? The who? He goes, I love your passion. I couldn't help but overhear you, and I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I want you on my network. I want you on BlogTalkRadio. My name's Jay Soderberg. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he goes, I used to be head of podcasting for ESPN. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know you're serious. So that's seriously how I got into podcasting was Jay kind of discovered me doing a rant in a hotel lobby in Las Vegas.
Cool.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's the craziest thing. And so literally that was the middle of April. By June 1st, I had 3 episodes up already, and it's been going forth ever since. So I do practically a weekly show. I'm actually close to 80 something episodes, just because for a while there, I did 2 episodes a day as a preview series for the NFL. So I count those because that was a lot of work. So that was like 32 episodes on top of my normal routine. So yeah, it's been interesting, and I've had some really cool guests on, and it's just cool because it's like it's my thing. It has nothing to do with my kids or my husband or my job, or I get to be really who I think I should be, which is a really inappropriate woman, and it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's the randomest story, right? Like, because podcasting is one of those things that anybody can get into. I happen to be like the one person that was discovered, and this guy's like, "Here, I shall give you a podcast," and that's how it happened.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My journey was a little bit different. I started out on a Transformers podcast in 2007. I got cast as they were starting a separate podcast called War Stories, which was I was reading people's fanfics. In using my voices, which was okay. I can't listen to them now because the sounds of some of these voices were terrible, and I couldn't bear to listen to the way I sounded at the time. So it's very hard for me to listen to any of those 15 episodes that I did. But that was how I started. And then I did a couple episodes on their flagship show, and then after I was kind of done there, I started my own podcast, and then I bumped into Mike here on Twitter by listening to our America Junior partner. And,
I think we need to explain what America Junior is, because
we don't.
It's a funny gag, though. You came up with it, so it's great.
Yeah, no,
but it's true. It's true, except for Quebec. We don't want to claim them.
And the cat is out of the bag.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. So yeah, we were listening to them, and I used to listen to them every Friday when they would air actually on their college radio station. And after doing so, I was like, because I was doing a Transformers podcast, which keeps reviving itself. I keep trying to kill it, and it keeps coming back, and it's my own fault.
Like the Michael Bay films. Like
no! Don't you even dare.
No! They should have died a long time ago.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. No one should like any of the Transformer movies. No.
For a second there,
well, the one where Optimus Prime, like the animated one in the 80s where he goes into the sun, that was good.
Wait, no, okay. You need a lesson. That wasn't
a movie. That was an episode.
That was okay. Well, it was billed. It was billed as a VHS at the time. The Rebirth story was billed as a VHS at the time, but that's not the actual movie. The actual movie was in '86, where Megatron actually kills him.
Oh,
that's the movie.
That's terrible.
Where he goes into the sun. Where he goes into the sun is a 3-part episode called Rebirth, and that made up the sole 3 episodes of the 4th season before the show died.
I don't care. I just remember that from my childhood. Okay, just be excited. I know who Optimus Prime is. All right.
At least she knows who the real Optimus Prime is, not that garbly looking piece of junk metal that's on the feature film screen.
There you go.
So,
we made Shia LaBeouf was a terrible.
Oh,
it was a bad movie. Just bad and sexist. So sexist. Yes,
it's just as bad in the Mark Wahlberg one. I'm a scientist. I can fix things. That's what he says the entire film, like basically. So it's like, I'm an engineer. I can fix things.
We watched like a little bit, and I was just like, this is the most ridiculous thing. Like, it's really like, it's funny. My husband today, we were home, and he was watching Starship Stormtroopers. You know the one.
Starship Troopers.
Thank you. And I'm going, this is the best worst movie ever because it's really bad, but it's still entertaining.
It's meant to be bad though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, for a second there, we entered into a 3-way round of $25,000 pyramid. You're like, Starship, you know the one. Yeah, I'm like, oh, God.
Megatron knew.
Where's Dick Clark when you really need him?
I know films, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, but that's what I mean. Like, that's one of those watchable horrible movies. Like, I kind of catch a glimpse of it, like, oh yeah, they're killing bugs, hooray! And oh yeah, Denise Richards is sleeping with that other dude, fantastic. So that happened, but that that Mark Wahlberg one, I'm just like, just all the Transformers. Like the first one, maybe
the
somewhat
first one gets
okay.
a pass because it reinvigorated the franchise, and it was the first, kind of almost innocent one out of the franchise.
But the other ones were just like, no, they should no.
They should be burned in a fire. That's why we made a gag about Michael Bay, and I made an image a couple of years ago. Shoot for the wallet.
Shoot for the wallet.
Nice.
It's got a harpoon in it, and Michael Bay is stealing your wallet.
Do you just not like Michael Bay, like all of his films, or just Transformers ones? I mean, he's made some good films.
I wouldn't say that he's made some good films. I would say that he's copied a lot of the same stuff in his films and just reused it, and he's the king of explosions and blockbusters, but I wouldn't necessarily call his films good.
Is that really a bad thing, though, to be the king of explosions?
Well,
I mean...
I think Hollywood in general, like the feature film industry, is gone to crap. Television is where it's at right now as far as getting well-written stuff. The film industry, like, there's nothing really that great. And the stuff that is great, unfortunately, doesn't get enough recognition. So, because you get a lot of these same directors doing the same films over and over and over, just with different characters.
Yeah, I can see that. And I agree with you, because I feel like, particularly like Netflix and Amazon Prime, my God, some of the shows, like I just finished Man in a High Castle a couple weeks ago, and it was fantastic. So good. Like, and then I read the book, and the book was so different. Highly recommend that to you guys. And I started watching Daredevil, and I forget why I stopped.
I didn't.
How far did you? Yeah, we know you didn't.
Not very far.
What episode did you stop at?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Actually, it was before I started podcasting. Well, again, the podcast kind of took over my life. I don't know about you guys, and it sounds like you guys do a lot of podcasts. And
are you kidding me?
That's what happened.
I mean, I haven't even told my story yet.
Yeah, we live podcasts.
Oh
Seriously,
my God.
And here's the thing. Once you start podcasting, you then start finding excuses to either come on other people's podcasts like this one, or you like start thinking, I could do another podcast. It's a sickness.
It is.
Are you kidding? We've been doing this for 7 years now. June 1st of this year will be our... Well, okay, I'm saying...
Oh, June 1st is my podcast anniversary, too. Yay!
That's almost creepy now. All right. So as the...
Creepy. That's awesome.
As the Geekcast Radio Network, we've been doing the network for 7 years now. And in that 7 years, usually every year or so, I end up spending 4 hours in one day crafting something that will take the next 2 or 3 years of our lives. We just finished, and we've already announced it. We haven't started production on it yet. I just finished over the holidays. I spent one afternoon, 4.5 hours, creating a 70-episode podcast for our Boy Meets World review show.
Boy Meets World, like the show from like the 90s.
From the 90s.
That's one of our
Corey
staples.
And Topanga?
Yes.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that show. Can I talk about that for a minute? I'm so glad you. Okay, that show bothers me. I like.
Oh
it.
no.
No, I like it. I love the whole premise of it. But it was like actually 4 different shows put together in a series. If you really think about it, with the way the actors, like all of a sudden Sean had the cool teacher and he was adopted by him, but then he was dropped and his dad came back, and then they had other people, and then magically Topanga finds this best friend that she hadn't had before, when they were in college. I'm like, what? It's just too much. Just so many plot holes.
But it evolved, unlike a lot of shows that do the same thing for 7 to 10 years.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. There are some fallbacks, though.
Yeah, there are.
Like their wedding was annoying because it was all about Sean and Corey, and I'm going. But then, the more I think about it, my wedding was more about my husband and his best friend too. Never mind.
There's so many parallels to real life with that show that it's hard not to enjoy it. We just there was such an intense liking of the show from our childhood that we were like, we have to talk about this.
How old are y'all?
I'll be 36 next month.
Okay, you're my age. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'll be
Steve's 20-something.
I'll be 30 in June.
Oh my God, you're a baby.
Geez.
Okay, shut up. Yeah, no, you don't get to talk.
He doesn't get to talk on his own show. That's funny.
No talking on your own show anymore, Megatron. I'm putting the knish. No. Oh my gosh.
No.
I do like that Joker voice.
So it's one of those things where I've been doing this since 2008. We started the network in 2009, and for me, people already know this, I am partially disabled, so I don't have a real job, or I can't actively physically get a real job. So podcasting technically is my job. I will wake up at say 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, sit here for till about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, editing 3 or 4 different podcasts. In our 7-year history on the network, I've been on probably just north of 2,500 episodes.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
done a lot more guesting too than I have. It's more so because my availability.
Yeah, but the guesting it's sporadic at this point. It used to be. I don't do it as much anymore. I've become a podcast hermit pretty much at this point. But for me, it's like when I got into it, I was like, I originally wanted to start listening. I'm like, okay, podcast, what is that? I want to start listening to it. So I wanted to find something that I was interested in. And one of the things I was interested in was Bruce Timm's DC animated universe. So Batman the Animated Series, Superman, Justice League, Batman Beyond, all that stuff. Teen Titans doesn't count. That's not in continuity. So I went on to iTunes and found several podcasts. And one I found was called World's Finest Podcast. And I thought it was the producers of the show talking about the show every episode. No, it's just 2 random guys reviewing every episode of every single cartoon that's in the DC animated universe. So they reviewed all of Batman the Animated Series, all of Superman, all of Justice League, all of Batman Beyond, everything. So I'm like, okay, I think I could do that. And on Twitter, started talking with Steve, and it's like, yeah, I think I want to do a Transformers, classic Transformers Generation 1 cartoon show. Like, sure. I'm like, at first I'm like, yeah, I can record the stuff, but I have no interest in editing. So pretty much for the first, what was it, year and a half, 2 years?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Steve was my edit monkey.
I was the edit monkey. I'm still the art monkey.
Oh, please, come on now. I don't ask you for too much on the art. Come on.
Nice.
I am the art monkey.
I want monkeys. How do I get those? Because it's all me.
You find someone younger than you, and then you say, "Hey, you know how to do this."
Put your kids to work.
Put my kids to work. No, again, they're not. The tiny humans are not allowed to listen to mommy's podcast, so they couldn't edit.
They don't. Okay. Well, they don't. They could do the art.
They could do graphic design for you.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I actually hired a VA, but yeah, I'm good. No, I did a lot of it myself actually on Fiverr. God bless the Bangladesh that will work so cheaply.
Oh boy.
No, it's true. No, it was great because I got like my avatar is this cute cartoon character, and she's like super fun and funky. Actually, that's a funny story. So I told the girl what I wanted and we agreed on a price, and she sends back this chick with and I said I wanted her about my age and I'm 35. Okay. So she sends back this girl and literally she has like her belly button exposed and like cut off shorts and like the skateboard. I'm like, whoa, no. I don't know any 35-year-old, at least in my mom's circle, that's dressing like that. And if she were, we would be mocking her. Yes, we're mean girls. We would do that. So we had to go back to the drawing board. We got something that both of us agreed on. But yeah, no, but it's nice to have a team like that around you for podcasting or just projects like this in general. Because I don't think people realize, like, if you're a fan of the show, support this show. You have no idea the amount of work the guys put into, and it doesn't seem like work because they're having a lot of fun on air, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, there's editing, there's getting the thing to upload properly.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. I was just a guest on a podcast recently on Blog Talk. I'm not going to say which one, but they accidentally they uploaded the raw audio, so you can hear all of our before stuff, all of our after stuff. The before and after stuff is almost always the best stuff, though, so it was kind of good. But it was hilarious because that stuff had nothing to do with the actual what we were supposed to be talking about on the podcast. So it was pretty funny.
I've done that on occasion just to be funny.
I've done it on accident.
I do it on a purpose once in a while, but I'll throw it at the end of the episode just to mess with people.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
depends. Well, it depends on what happened. It really does depend on what happened. Because for the past 2 years, myself, my friend Amy, and my other friend Nicole, we were doing a Gem review podcast of the classic 80s series Gem.
Gem's Adventure. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. And we usually spend it usually takes us 3.5 hours to record one episode, and one episode depending on how many cartoons we're reviewing in each episode, we'll end, the final edit time will probably end up being somewhere like 2 hours, 1 hour, 45 minutes, something. But we still spend 3 hours. We'll spend 45 minutes talking and just going off the rails and whatever else, and I'll have that stuff recorded, and I'll go through that, and I'll pick out if there's something funny. And they started. I have a, like Steve said, I'm the type of person that I have to script out everything, not the discussion, but like the intro, the closing, all that stuff. So I've had this closing scripted, and I just modify it for each podcast, no matter what it is, to fit that podcast. And on the Gem Show, I'll close it by saying, I am Mike, and we have been Mike with this person and this person, and both Amy and Nicole, for the majority of the show, just don't even say their names at the end. They'll just come up with random stuff. So I'll do my closing line, and then they'll either laugh or they'll say something, and I'll just end it with, I hate you guys. So I'll leave that kind of stuff in. Or like I said, if there's a funny story that we did off air, I'll put that in as an outtake either at the beginning or the ending of a show. But yeah, the whole process of podcasting is a lot more work than people think it is. With Steve and I, we've come to the point where we're in this kind of really good fit where I do some stuff and he does the rest of it. Like, he handles all the website stuff, he handles all the RSS stuff, all that stuff, and I pretty much record and edit most of the show. I mean, he edits his own shows and all that, but since I do more shows than he does, I'm editing more of that, and I create the posts and upload them and all that stuff and everything else. But oh boy, I can spend anywhere from 16 to 18 hours a day working on the stuff for the site.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. I don't have that luxury just because I just don't have the time.
Well, you're married, you have kids, all that stuff.
Oh, no, I don't care about them. Oh, no. No, they're fine. They're fine. I put some kibble out and some paper. They're good. No, I mean, but like, because of my topics, because sports, literally, I will record an episode and hopefully within 2 hours, I've got it up and live on iTunes. And on Blog Talk. Like, I really do try to make it as quickly as possible because sports is so timely. I mean, and I can't sit on it. So
I am one of those people that I've tried doing the timely things, and it's too much stress for me. I just can't do it. I would rather go back to a 30-year-old cartoon and spend 2.5 to 3 years producing that podcast than try. Like, I've tried to do 2 different TV podcasts, one on that America Junior Network, and then another one on our network, keeping up with the fall and the fall premieres on TV, on network TV, and the finales in the spring, and it just got to be too much. It was like, oh my god, I can't keep up with this stuff. I just can't keep up with it.
No, it's hard. It's really hard. Just in general, just because, especially, does it feel like you guys like everything like awesomely geeky is like exploding in the last decade? Like, everywhere, it's everywhere.
Yeah. I have a hard time when I'm doing this show sometimes because sometimes we cover a lot of news stuff, and it didn't start out that way. Like, it started out with just a couple articles, and then I get into these kicks where there's so much like interesting stuff that I'm interested in that I want to talk about that I don't necessarily have the time to talk about. So like, I will fill out these like episode scripts of just articles that I've found throughout the last week, and then we'll maybe get to like a third of them, and then I just put the rest of them in the show notes. But it's gotten to the point where I'm having to like whittle down to what ones actually are the most important ones, because there's so much going on, whether it's with Star Wars or Marvel, DC, tech, games, like comics, like anything. Like, there's so much of it out there now. It's basically evolved into its own beast, almost much akin to like the overall genre of like sports.
It's true. And people again, like today, there was a huge story out that the NFL's first full-time female coach was hired. And I had tons of people asking me what I thought about it. And it's like, guys, I don't have time to really talk about this one issue because I've got a zillion other things going on. I mean, it happens. You just have to pick and choose what, you want to talk about and what you think is most important to you and your audience. And sports is really the similar thing because, I'm worried about this summer, like the Olympics come. And I'm like, how am I going to cover that? Like, That's going to be crazy because that's like 16 days of just nothing but Olympic competition and just, with like a zillion events. I'm just going, it would be like you guys trying to cover everything inside Comic-Con,
I did that a couple of years ago.
How'd that work?
It was crazy though. I don't do that.
Well, I've always been crazy. We all know
sometimes
this.
Crazy works.
Yeah, exactly.
At least
crazy. Crazy is as crazy does.
Look, admitting it is your first step to recovery.
Oh, there is no recovery from this kind of crazy.
Oh, no.
No. A couple of years ago, a buddy of ours, Brian Kilby, over on the Transformers, over on the TF Radio Network, they were going to have some big Transformers reveal at Comic-Con, and we were just going to do reactionary things to what, like, live events or what things we could find online that people that we didn't actually go to the convention. We were doing this over the internet and all that stuff. So we spent 2 years in a row. We spent 6 hours on a show for 2 different years, so 12 hours total, talking about San Diego Comic-Con reveals. And I was a voice on it for all 12 hours. And the funny thing is, in 7-8 years, I've never lost my voice once. And several people I know who podcast almost or just as much as I do will end up losing their voice for 2 or 3 days at a time.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah, I don't care to sit there for that long. We had a hard enough time doing our Star Wars discussion years ago on our movie podcast, and we were all our America Junior and a couple of us from the network were sitting here talking Star Wars, all the while making fun of Mike in the background on Facebook.
Yeah, because
we spent 5 hours between the prequel and the original trilogy.
Oh my gosh!
Two episodes though.
Yeah, 2 different episodes though.
Still, just the prequels alone don't. Those are not happy things.
For me, Star Wars starts at Revenge and ends at Jedi. But before The Force Awakens, obviously, it starts at Revenge and it ends at Jedi.
1 and 2 don't exist.
1 and 2 don't exist. 2, Attack of the Clones. If they took out or they minimalized the damn love story, that was the worst.
It wasn't a love story. It was an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
I know, and technically, like, it just was weird because she's supposed to be so much older than he is. I'm like, ew. No.
Well, and George Lucas was pressing the envelope in that movie. It was more about the CGI and how much crap he could throw on screen than anything else.
What did you guys think of the new Star Wars movie?
I loved it.
Me too. I did.
I liked it, but
of course you did.
No.
In this conversation, seriously, this is what's happened. It's like Steve and I will be like super excited, and you're like, "Oh, I just like it."
Well, see, I'm one of those people that I get burnt out on hype and over promotion, and every single one of my friends on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere is like, "Oh my God, Star Wars! It's the best thing ever!" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Okay, sure, cool. I've seen the trailers. I want to see the movie, but I'm going to wait until all the talk dies down about it because when something is shoved into my face, it's like I run the other way."
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
Okay, like we waited.
I enjoyed the movie. I liked it. I don't think it's the best movie ever.
No, I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I do think it's an excellent continuation of this story, even though they're basically recycling the plot of the of the original.
Of 4 and 6.
Yeah, thank you. I get the numbers mixed up now because I'm like, which number is it? I'm like, New Hope.
Well, you little whippersnappers, it's the original first one, and...
Oh, please, you and Mr. Old Man Voice are the youngest one here. Don't even go there.
You know what, Mike? Shut your face.
But yeah, that film was by far the best Star Wars movie that I've seen in a while.
Yes.
The ending was still like, I was like, give me more, but like I was still satisfied with the film. I'm not satisfied with the fact... That was my biggest
disappointment was the ending of it.
Yeah, I wish that there would have been...
I just wanted him to say one thing. One thing, that's all. Except it ends with the two of them just standing on a friggin' hill.
It could have been worse. Somebody could have, like, dubbed over and had that Adele song where it says hello and had...
Oh, God.
reaching forward.
Don't even get me started on that. Every time that comes on the radio, I'm like, oh, my... I am so not...
Somebody mixed the Guy Ritchie one where he sings hello and mixed it with hers.
Oh God!
No, it's actually really good. The two of them mixed up together. I'm actually a huge Adele fan, but again, I'm a girl, so I'm allowed.
But yeah, like the favorite quote thing. It says best quote of the movie, and then it had Luke, and then it said like the quotation ... quotation.
Or no, it's just the opening after the he turns around and it's all of a sudden da 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 da. You're like, no, it's the end of the movie. Come on. So that's how I felt about the Harry Potter, the last Harry Potter movie when they split it in two, and Voldemort's at the grave and he gets the Elder Wand, and I'm like, no, I could sit and watch the whole thing. You don't need to stop. You don't need to stop. It was kind of like that.
What's sad is I was reading the spoilers on the film before I could go see it. So I had actually watched like clips of certain scenes happening that were key scenes in the movie. I watched them before I saw the film, and I was like, oh, that's kind of what I expected. And then when I went and saw the film, seeing it as a whole, the emotional level of it actually hit. Even though I knew what was going to happen, it just hit differently because the full package put together.
Nice. Yeah, no, I thought it was well done. I thought it was excellent continuation. I knew some of the backstory because I did some research and knew about Leia and Han and their children and some of the stuff. And I was like, man, that's some dark stuff. Like, Skywalker clan. Maybe you guys should not reproduce anymore.
Well, they did foretell the killing of one character in a video game 5 years ago, so in the exact same fashion.
That's super nerdy. Okay.
Yeah, it came out after the film. Like, people were like talking about it. I didn't know that until I saw the article on it, but it makes a lot of sense.
Ah, okay.
I have too much free time to search through Twitter throughout the day.
Really? Like, wow.
And the sad thing is I have more free time than he does, and I didn't even care to look.
I will say I sit on Twitter more than I sit on Facebook or any other social network. That is like my go-to place. Twitter's
my happy place, especially during a football game or a basketball game. Particularly like when UVA is playing, I am on there with all my other UVA fans, and we're just going at it, and we're just panicking and see like the various tweets and things like that. So yeah, Twitter's my jam. I love it. I love it so much more than Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook a lot just because you have to be, but it's kind of one of those like Twitter's my happy spot. It really is.
Yeah, Facebook's the bastard child you can't live without.
Well, it's one of those things where, again, it's interesting because, I'm truly sports gal pal when I'm on Twitter, but then I'm Ramona. We didn't actually say my real name, but that's okay. I'm Ramona when I'm on, Facebook. And so people who know me there, like, that's where I'll put like pictures of the tiny humans and tiny humans, by the way, are my children. I need to clarify that. People get really mad when they're like, oh, are you making fun of like dwarves? I'm like, no, I call them tiny humans because that's what they are. They're tiny humans. If I call them children, I treat them like children, and therefore they act like children. If you call them tiny humans, then they still act like children, but it's cuter. So, I'll put like my real life on Facebook as much as I need to, but Twitter's really where I'm obnoxious because none of my gainful employers are on Twitter, which is fantastic. So myself.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, and Twitter's super great for geeks because, again, you can talk about anything. Like, I describe Twitter as it's the world's largest cocktail party. You just got to figure out where in the cocktail party you want to kind of converse. And that's what you got to do. So, like, for me, Twitter, I mean, like, people follow me all the time, and it's great. Unless I personally know you, like, before this started, I think, Steve, you and I started following each other. But... Yep. Yeah, and it's great. I don't think we've ever interacted on Twitter once, and that's okay. Just a lot of sports stuff. You're gonna be like, "Oh, that's super cute, sports gal pal, thanks," and you're gonna move right on, or you'll mute me because that's the way it goes.
I don't mute people. I mute people all the time. If people don't follow me after a while, I unfollow them. But
I do that. Yes,
because I'm like, if you're not following me, I have no interest in following you.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I do mute people a lot. Like really good friends of mine who are podcasters and they're podcasting like in the business space. So they really utilize Twitter for like their business stuff. I'm like, no, you have nothing to do with sports. I don't care. Mute. But that way I haven't unfollowed them. So I'm still being a good friend.
You're still keeping the numbers up. You're just not participating in their game.
Yeah. At some point I'm like, no, I don't want 30 ways to like grow my email list. No, thank you.
There was the great monitor debacle of 2015 where I ended up, because I use TweetDeck, so I ended up leaving the window open, so my monitor just flaked out on me. So for
Mike was messaging me on
a day and a half. I was not.
Oh
messaging.
no, you were watching Transformers the movie.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens from Transformers the movie.
No.
He's talking about the golden one from the 80s.
The real. Okay, no, it's the real one.
Yeah, the real one.
Where Optimus Prime dies, or the son? Because now I'm confused.
No, where he dies. Yes.
See, I'm learning.
No, so my monitor dies, and it's every 1.5 seconds I could be able to actually turn it on and see something. So I pulled up TweetDeck. I checked the box where it's like leave the message window open so you can just sit here and type. So I'm sitting here and typing, and I'm hitting Alt Enter or Shift Enter or whatever it is to enter the message, and I'm, just day and a half. It's nothing but consistent crazy messages from me. Like, I can't see anything anyone's replying to me whatsoever. I won't be able to see that until I get a new monitor. So I'm just sitting here just doing random crap. And I think by the time I got to the scene where Galvatron destroys Ultra Magnus, Steve was like, "Yeah, I'm muting you now."
I got a question. Why couldn't you just log into Twitter proper?
It wasn't just. It's my monitor died. I couldn't see anything on my computer.
Oh, wow.
My entire monitor died. So I had always had TweetDeck open. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just put my mouse over here. I'll click this to keep the window open. And I'll just make sure the cursor's there. And I'll just start typing.
Wow.
So, that was a day and a half of crazy.
Yeah, he was typing like everything he was watching in the movie, and somebody actually, like one of the guys on the network was like, "Are you tweeting while watching Transformers the entire movie and you can't see?"
Well, see, okay, the funny thing about this is that I haven't actually had the movie in a while, but when I did have it, I created an audio version of it. So pretty much,
we did a podcast on it, so he was using the audio.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I was worried that
ever since I was
lying
a
there
kid,
in the dark and like listening to it, like before you go to bed and slumber.
Yeah, pretty much.
We listen to it like it's an audio play.
Ever since I was a kid, ever since before technology grew to the point where we could actually record stuff off of stuff, other than VCRs. But I've always wanted to, for some odd reason, wanted to have Transformers the 1986 movie as an audio form. And a few years ago, I'm like, hey, I have the movie. I'll just hit record on my Audacity thing, and I'll play the movie, and I'll go do something else for the next 86 minutes or however long it is. And I've had that audio file for years, and I'm like, hey, since I can't see anything, I might as well just listen to one of my favorite movies of all time and just sit here and tweet about it for the next 2 hours.
Sure, because that's what a reasonable adult does. Is they say, you know what? Yeah, that's what I do. If my monitor dies, I'm going to pop in like Love Actually, and I'm just going to tweet about that the whole time. Sure.
It could be worse. A buddy of ours that didn't actually have his monitor die on him, he actively did a full-on Bambi commentary. So,
who?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him about that, Steve. It was good old Optobotomist that did that.
Why?
I don't know why he did a Bambi commentary.
Why not? Out of all the Disney movies, that's a fantastic one because so much stuff happens in it. Death and life, and there's sex, and there's all kinds of things going on in there.
But that's every Disney movie.
There's no sex in every Disney movie.
There is.
There is.
All right, probably. Yeah.
Come on now. You're looking at a company that's... Oh, God. How...
Oh, well, I actually in college did the Disney internship, so I've got stories. Trust me. So, I lived there for 6 months in the kingdom of the Disney, and I have oodles and oodles of fun stories about guests and princesses.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. An interview I did several years ago, a buddy of mine pointed this guy out to me. His name is Leonard Kinsey.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a book called The Dark Side of Disney.
All of it's probably true.
Have you ever seen the book? Have you ever read the book or anything?
No, because I lived it. What would you like to know?
I mean, this was his journey about finding the adult content at the park. It was hilarious. It's such a good book.
Well, the worst thing about the Disney thing is that there are so many like grown-up guests who will pay a ton of money. I'm talking like thousands of dollars to get like a backstage tour. And I'm going, why would you do that? Because you're about to ruin the magic. So I had people that were coming down from Virginia, where I'm from, down to Florida to visit me. Like, we're going to do the backstage tour. I'm like, don't do that. It's going to ruin it for you. Because when you go to the backstage tour, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find like real people who hate their job and have to be in the Florida sunshine and be happy and rosemary and say, have a magical day, all the while wanting to flick you off. But hey, if you want to come to Disney and do that and spend thousands of dollars, or I can, do it for you for free because I am living it right now. I mean, seriously. And they did. So what they would do is they would do things like they would put Mickey Mouse's head on like water coolers. So when you would do the water cooler, you would see the glug, glug, glug in the mouth. That was fun.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, you'd see like, I do have this one fun story. So I worked at the Magic Kingdom, and there's huge tunnels underneath the Magic Kingdom. That's the way the Magic Kingdom rolls. And I was super homesick, and I'd broken up with my boyfriend before I went down there. And I just was like, what the hell have I done with my life? Taking this internship, I'm delaying graduation, all this other stuff. Well, my favorite Disney movie of all time, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I cannot tell you, like, I collected the stuff. I loved it. And I'm going down the hall, and all of a sudden, all seven dwarfs are like bebopping down the hall. And I was like, it's a sign. It's a sign. They whip off their heads in front of me, and they're all Asians. And I was like, I was so traumatized. So I sent an email to my mom. To this day, she still has it, and she'll read it like at Christmas. She goes, it just was the funniest thing you've ever read. It was about you being traumatized that there were Koreans inside the Seven Dwarfs costumes. It was the only time I saw all seven dwarfs together, by the way. So it was a sign, but I survived, and I'm glad I did it. And it's a great company to work for if you take advantage of the different stuff. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's grownups that work in those parks, guys. So guess what grownups do? They like to make fun of you. As you're spending thousands of dollars on God knows what, we're making fun of you.
I was going to say a bad joke, but because you were saying about them taking off the masks, I was going to say it was the lip syncing off when they were doing like a bad Godzilla movie.
Oh, that would have been hilarious too. Yeah, no.
Look, it's Godzilla.
No, I was gonna say where they're going hi ho, and then they're like it's still like off, like when they take the masks off, like their mouth is still moving, but it's not even like the syncing's off.
Korean, yes.
Oh, that's horrible. I'm gonna go to hell.
Yes, you are.
We are so racist right now. I'm so sorry, everyone. I am not. And I found out they were Korean because I became friends with some of them. So they really were Korean. I'm not making that up.
Have you seen the Disney XD series, the 7D?
Probably my 9-year-old has. I have not.
Really? No,
I'm smart mom. I have put the TV downstairs in their garage playroom so they can go watch whatever. There are filters so they can only get to so much stuff. God bless TiVo. So yes.
I don't have cable. I have this magical friend called show.rss.net.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't watch commercials, and I filter what my kid watches anyway. Plus, I own all the TV shows from when I was a kid, so he has limited access.
Pretty much my kids just watch like Netflix, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, and seriously, that's all they need.
So, a couple of years ago, Disney XD started this series called the 7D. It takes place 30 years before the Seven Dwarfs meet Snow White.
Why?
And it's... What do you mean, why?
Why do we need to know 30 years? Are they that old?
No, well, probably.
This is before they got old and wrinkly.
Are they like teenagers? Like, this is how we learn how to lie?
No. Okay, no.
This is before they all got their brain damage.
Ha!
How am I going to explain this? It's all the classic Seven Dwarfs in this kingdom called Jollywood. You got Maurice LaMarche as the voice of Grumpy. You got Kevin Michael Richardson as the voice of Happy. You got Stephen Stanton, Billy West.
Know all this?
We study these people.
I watched the show.
Okay, I watch shows too, and I can barely remember character names. Like Game of Thrones, I still need a chart.
Oh God!
To get through all the people. Yes. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. Dwarves.
So, the basic premise of the show is the seven dwarfs are there. They have their mine and all that stuff. So they're mining for gems and everything else. And basically, what it is every now and then the queen of the land, called Queen Delightful, will ring the bing bong bell because something that the Glooms, the villains of the show, have done something to her, or stolen something, or whatever else. The 7D have to come in and save the day.
Wait. So the seven dwarves have to go and do that? They have nobody else in this kingdom? They're going to use these dwarves? Those dwarves? Snow White's dwarves to save the kingdom? What nonsense is that?
They're the hero. Oh my god. Okay.
No! I love Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but let's talk about these dwarves. If that was the case, why did they rally around Snow White and kick that evil queen out when she... Oh my god, no.
No. Queen Delightful is not an evil queen.
No. I'm not talking about that queen. I'm talking about 30 years later. Like, they got the experience. And why are they still, like, their career aspirations must be terrible if 30 years later they're still digging in the mine? That's one big-ass mine.
Yeah, I am so not a fan of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the original Disney film. There's so many things wrong with that movie.
No, it's perfect because here's why. Because it was the first. And
No. You complain about me being a Boston fan about that. No. You cannot bitch. You cannot bitch about, oh my god, it was the first. Well, there would be some other first. There would be some other first that would have launched Disney if the seven dwarfs, the seven crusty old men, came after that little girl. I'm sure. And where the hell are the rest of the adults in that movie? Come on, give me a break.
Like, that's like every good movie, every good Disney series, every good everything. There's never any grown-ups anywhere. Like, come on, that's just ludicrous. Stop that.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @alteredgeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, BlogTalkRadio, and AlteredGeek.com. And now, back to the show.
All right, before this train wreck goes off and derails further,
like it hasn't already.
I know.
I'm never going to be invited back. I'm never going to be invited back again.
Right.
Oh no, you're agreeing.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
This is going to be the long lost episode. Once we might have had a girl that knew about sports, but she never really came on.
Well, there was one long lost episode because I miscounted in between episodes.
That's why I don't count mine. I just put emails and hope for the best.
So, before we close this out, is there anything that you'd like to promote that you've got coming up on your podcast?
Nothing really. No, Super Bowl coverage. Guys, Super Bowl is coming. Yay! I know.
And the Patriots are going to win. We all know this.
Oh my God, no. There's so many reasons why not, and I'll be discussing them on my podcast. Yeah, I'll have various guests and things like that coming up. I will hopefully be having a really cool bracketology challenge. I'm actually a big college basketball nerd. That's the ACC girl in me. So I'm super excited about that. And again, you can find me on blogtalkradio.com/SportsGalPal, SportsGalPal.com. I'm on iTunes, and you can follow me at Twitter @SportsGalPal. Make it super, super easy. And thanks so much for having me on. This was a ton of fun.
Yep, thanks for joining us. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and getting to learn a little bit about sports since I'm a noob, and obviously you guys talk circles around me, and that's why I was deadly silent. So, Mike, what do you have?
It's better to be deadly silent than silent but deadly.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, coming up. Oh boy,
Reader's Digest version.
No. It's quiet, you. I can't believe I'm going down this route. I've resisted it so long. My girlfriend and I, Jennifer, we're going to be reviewing My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 1 on Tooncast Beyond, and then my other friend Nicole, we're going to be reviewing IDW's My Little Pony comic series over on the Pullbag, which is our comic show. So in February, it's going to be all pony coverage on the GCRN for cartoons and comics. So there's that. I've got several interviews coming up. One with the voice, the singing voice of Jem, Britta Phillips, the lady that did all the singing on the show. I've got an interview with the IDW writer Ryan Ferrier. He wrote the D4VE series, and he's got a new series coming up called Hot Damn. That's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what I got going on.
As for myself, I just have more Altered Geek. I'll probably have some video podcasts coming out later this week. Well, maybe next week, not this week because it's Friday by the time it's up. But yeah, just look for that stuff, and hopefully more. We do have an episode coming up on Stupid Abound.
Yeah.
Or Stupid Unleashed.
That's
yeah, it's going to be a fun episode.
That's
so. Alrighty. Until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Blog Talk people told you about me, Megatron, but yes. Oh, I didn't say all hail. Oh, no.
It's okay. Nobody hails him anymore. He's fine with it.
I think he wants me to hail, though. I mean, come on.
He's overrated.
Seriously, how often does a woman get to say all hail? You know? I mean, seriously.
Aw, man, he didn't even take the bait, so...
I know. I was waiting for too, man.
Not taking the bait on that. No, thank you. Throw that fish back.
Yeah, I know way more about geeky topics than I probably should, but that's really because of my 9-year-old. So, yes. I'm going to blame my 9-year-old. It's not true. I really am secretly a geek.
Well, that's good.
Yes. Yes. Like, he has a superhero lair in his bedroom.
Oh, boy. Which villain does he want to be?
No, he doesn't want to be a villain. He wants to be Green Arrow.
Yeah, when it comes to sports, it's Boston or bust for me.
So sorry for you. Well, actually, not really.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
This is going to be fun.
Okay.
86 years was broken. So
you're one of
fine for, yeah.
Oh, you're one of those whiny New England fans. Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, no. I'm not a whiny New England fan.
Oh,
no.
Every New England fan's whiny. Every New England fan's whiny.
And everyone else in the world is a whiny person as well because, oh my God, the Patriots must have messed with the microphones. Oh my God, they must have messed with the audio. That's such bull.
Oh, is this a clean podcast, by the way? You can't help it with sports because New England fans are fucking crazy.
So are geeks. Which
they are in the sports fans and geeks are very much the same thing. Sometimes when you're a geek about sports and a geek about other geeky things, it's like, oh my gosh.
No,
America Junior.
America Junior. That's great. Use that, Mike.
No. Yeah.
Because it's true. Except for Quebec. No one wants to claim that part of Canada.
No.
Because sometimes, and you guys can ask me this too, when I've got like guys on for sports, sometimes I got to get a little flirty, and warm them up. So, yeah. So they don't need to hear mommy saying some of the things that mommy says.
No.
No.
Bad panda.
Dude, you've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.